Happy channel anniversary, everyone! What? We've been doing this for 3 years? Okay, that's wild. I'm gonna preface this and say this video is gonna be a little bit different from my other videos, and it's a little bit, there's a reason for it. Because this video I'm gonna be talking about my ADHD and how it affects making content. So being a small content creator and having ADHD, and you know how that's all how that all is. Oh my god. So basically what I'm trying to say is that this video is going to be a lot less edited down than my other ones, mostly so that you can see how I'm really like when I'm filming and can maybe illuminate the struggles of ADHD when filming, and just kind of show you how maybe people like me are when they're talking or when they're making content. So that's why it's not going to be as edited down. There'll still be some funky little things, but I'll keep in all the I'll keep in all the stalling, all the repeating, all the frustration, if there is any, and I hope there isn't. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about my ADHD and how it's affected me making my content. Because, you know, I've been making it for 3 years. I only found out that I had ADHD earlier this year, actually. And to be honest, knowing about it has helped me deal with things, because while making content for 3 years, you know, there were some bumps that I got into and didn't really understand, like, what they were about and, like, why they were happening. And now I do. And I want to, you know, talk about them so that, you know, you can learn a bit more about me, and maybe, again, learn a bit more about other content creators who have ADHD as well, or just your friends who have ADHD. It can also extend to other neurodivergencies, because some behaviors or like symptoms, I guess, of ADHD can also be found in OCD and autism and other stuff like that. So this is kind of just an informational video at its core, but personalized. I don't know. So I want to start and say that, like, these videos have helped my ADHD, or have my ADHD and my videos kind of go together like this, like they kind of spur off of each other. It gives me something to do, and it gives me sometimes even like a time limit, because scheduling is one of the things that ADHD people struggle with a lot, including me. And sometimes giving me something that I really like doing and a schedule for it, like a release date for my videos, can both be very good and very bad. I'll talk about the bad later, but in terms of good, it just gives you something to do. It gives my mind something to focus on, gives, you know, a bit of structure to my days. It's like, okay, I'm gonna film today, I'm gonna write my script today, I'm gonna film the next day, and then I'm gonna edit for a week or edit for a couple days, and I'll put it out on this date. That's such a good schedule. I mean, it just helps. And filming is usually pretty fun, especially if I'm doing something really exciting. I mean, last week's video, well, we'll get onto that in a minute. But videos where I'm really excited about stuff, like D&D. Oh, my window's open. Filming stuff like that I'm really interested in, like D&D, or doing something kind of weird, like my unboxing videos. Like, those are really exciting. Anything that has a lot of, like, dopamine boosts in them, you know, if I'm like opening something or trying something, that's a lot of very exciting. And I don't usually write scripts, and that's both a good and a bad thing. I've tried writing scripts before. I had this video planned out that I was telling all my friends about, and I never really made it. I might make it at some point, but one of the biggest issues was the script, because it was going to be a video essay style, which are styles of videos that I really enjoy, so I really wanted to make one of my own. But yeah, I tried writing a script and it didn't work. It just did not sound natural, because my writing is alright, but it doesn't sound real. That makes sense. It just was really frustrating to film as well. Like, I was tripping over the words, it was not working. And so because of that, I usually like to improvise, but also that comes with issues. If I start improvising what I'm talking about, sometimes I'll go on long tangents, and then the longer I take to film something, the more I will get bored by the end of it, and the less I'll be incentivized to continue it, which is a big ADHD thing. Is like, you're super excited about something one moment, and then sometimes you'll start getting bored or frustrated if like the smallest thing upsets you, which happens a lot. But I found a healthy medium, which is taking notes, which is what I've done here. So if I have notes that kind of have a general structure rather than like a specific script or just improvising, I think that can be better for me. Also, since my channel is small, and it's just like a hobby right now, I don't really feel the need to like, you know, like cater to a specific thing yet, which is really exciting. It's also not the best in terms of like getting new followers or like making money, but for now, if it's just a hobby and it's just something I enjoy doing, it's fine if I release whatever I want to do. And that's, again, super helpful for my ADHD, because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do a continuous type of content. Like, I don't want to only do vlogs, I don't want to only do this. So that's why I like putting out way different types of content and way different types of like subject matter. So at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna always go back around to things that I really enjoy, but there's still gonna be some wonky things out there, like really random shit that I'm up to. Again, because like sometimes with some interests, like I get really into them and then suddenly I'm not interested in them ever again, or I'm not interested in them for another 5 months and then suddenly it comes back. So it kind of helps me to kind of put shit out that has to do with that interest when I'm interested in it, and then be done with it, and then later on I can watch those videos and remember how much I was into that passion, but without feeling the need to like continue that passion if I don't feel like it, if that makes sense. I'm sure people will relate to that. There is still a bit of stress of like, well, I do want to grow my channel, obviously, and the kind of voice of like, well, if my content isn't consistent, then I'm never gonna get more views, I'm not gonna get more people. If, you know, I ride the waves of my ADHD and like operate only when my ADHD wants me to operate, that's not like the best way to get people watching. If I'm only, you know, if I'm uploading a bunch and then suddenly not uploading, or, you know, just uploading really inconsistent content. But again, I'm just trying to focus on what I'm actually trying to do with my channel, and that's putting out things that I find fun and just putting out content. Because the more I put out, the more I get practice in video editing and filming, and the more, you know, I have shit under my belt, and the more proud I feel. Does that make sense? Let's see. What's funny also is that with my ADHD, if I'm really into something, and if I don't, you know, go into these little bumps of like, ugh, I can work on a video for hours. Like, for the Dungeons and Daddies video, I was in the middle of assessments. I filmed everything and edited everything within like 3 days or something, or 2 days, I don't even remember, but I was just like, this is what I'm thinking about right now, I have to get this out. And it was also during my assessments, which is like a weird time to be filming videos, but it actually helped me get to work, because all of a sudden I had the desire to work on something even though it wasn't for school. So I made this random ass video, and then that desire to work kind of stayed. So again, and it gave me like a sense of schedule and structure as well, so it helped me start working on my academic stuff. It was a bit risky though, because again, it made me work in bouts of energy, and like if you have a deadline, sometimes it doesn't always work, you know, you can't always depend on like, oh, suddenly you feel like doing something. But I'll get onto this in a minute, but with ADHD, I get executive dysfunction, which makes it like impossible to work on anything. So kind of managing it and deciding to work when you're in the mood to work can help, even if it sounds a bit risky. Oh my gosh. But I mean, putting videos out makes me really happy, especially if my friends see them. And it gives me that dopamine boost, and it makes me, you know, proud that I've accomplished something. You know, especially these longer videos that I've edited down. I kind of think about like when I first started this channel, like my videos were much shorter, and like they're a bit messy, but like I only edited about, you know, maybe 30 minutes max of footage, and then now I'm editing much longer pieces of footage, like sometimes an hour long, sometimes 40 minutes long. Even then, I don't think the maximum was 30 minutes max. It was probably around 20 minutes max of footage edited down. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of how far I've gotten, to be honest. Especially moving to Final Cut Pro has been really helpful. iMovie was fun, but not the best. Now I'm going to talk about some like difficulties that ADHD entails with. Oh, is this still recording? Yeah. 9 minutes. There's some times where my ADHD does not help at all. And it's times where I just don't get inspired and don't feel like working, and just I can't work. Even if I want to, I just physically can't. And that's called like executive dysfunction. I'll probably put in like a description or definition right here. But it's where I really want to put something out, where I have a really good idea, but my body is screaming, no, like you can't work. Like I get physically ill sometimes if I try to push myself. Like if there's a video I'm really into, all that desire for that video is suddenly gone. As soon as I start working on it. If I start writing the script, I feel like physically ill. I don't know how to describe it. It's like cramped up, and it's like it's beyond anxiety. And it's an awful feeling. And that is definitely something hard to deal with when you're trying to do creative stuff. And obviously when you don't do anything, you kind of feel guilty. So that's happened to me a lot, where I'm like, well, I really want to get this video out. I'm talking to everyone about this video. I physically can't do it. Well, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, and then I never do it. And then, oh my god, I feel so guilty. I never put it out. Everyone wants me to put it out. I wanted me to put it out, and then it's just, that cycle sucks. And you know, it's all about trying to get out of that cycle. But I've also found that if I start talking about my videos too much and start, you know, giving the hype too much, or start talking about the details of the video too much, I start to lose interest in them, because when I talk about it, the novelty kind of wears off. And also when I know that more people know about it, I start to imagine that they have assumptions about the video, and then I never put it out. Which is not a great thing to deal with. And this will often get in the way. And sometimes I'll get to the point where I'm finally like filming, but if like the smallest thing goes wrong, or if I get frustrated, then all hell breaks loose. Like for example, the last video I filmed, the D&D, the 7 review video, so many things were going wrong. Like, oh my god, it was such a mess, guys. Like, I had to charge my camera, and the thing is, like, I already have issues with my camera. It'll only record like 20 minutes at a time, so that's one thing that I'm thinking about. So usually I have a timer on my phone to let me know. So then I have to be like, okay, I have to set up the timer on my phone, I have to make sure this, and then I'm like, okay, then I have to focus, and then I move the camera to focus it, I check it, I record a bit, I focus it, and then I'm like, okay, and then I have to check it again to focus it, and then I have to turn off the alarm because I'm like, oh my god, I've already recorded. It's such a mess. And that's just setting stuff up. And I've tried, like, for my last video, I tried setting something up with the microphone. I wanted to record some actually good, like, audio content, and like that was a whole mess too. And it, like, in post, like, it just didn't work. Like, I couldn't align, like, I did like the whole, you know, you clap to like set the audio and video together, but it just wouldn't align, which is so, like, what? But like, yeah, for the last video it was a mess. Like, my camera kept running out of battery like really fast, and I kept having to charge it, and then something happened to my SIM card, so like I had to film it 3 separate times. And by filming 3 separate times, I mean, like, I probably filmed about a total of like 2 hours of content. And like, it kept getting messed up. Like, the first take like just deleted itself because something happened to my SIM card, and then the second take stopped filming because my camera ran out of battery. And then I should have kept it so I could show you, but like during one of my takes, like, I fully shut down. It was really awful to experience. Like, I just, like, too many things were going wrong, and I was already in like makeup, and I'd set up the set and everything, and it was just, and when I get into like space of being overstimulated and too many things going wrong, it's just, I stop moving. And I'm pretty proud of what happened, because in past experiences, I would have just stopped filming and not come back to the video. But instead I like ranted to my mom, and then I just kind of sat. I just took a break. I just kind of understood that this was my ADHD freaking the fuck out. And I was like, I need to calm down. So, you know, I for an hour I just did some other things. I went out, went grocery shopping, or I took a little nap or something, and then I came back and filmed it, and it was completely fine. And it's because I had time to think about how to sort out the things that had gone wrong. You know, I could think about changing the script, and it was, you know, I sorted out the issues with it. Because some of the issues were in the script too, because I found that I was filming for way too long periods of time. And in the original version of the video, I talked about, you know, basics of D&D, and I just got so bogged down with that. So my, like, solution was to link to videos that already spoke about basics of D&D, so I didn't have to worry about doing it in my own video. And it's small things like that that you can change if you're starting to get frustrated with a portion of your video. And yeah, it's weird with like the focus, because sometimes like I'm so focused I can work on days, and then suddenly I just can't. Same thing with editing. It's like I can work, and then suddenly I just get disgusted by what I'm doing, and you just have to go reset, man. That's what you have to do. You just have to reset, and it feels like you'll never be able to work on it again, but you can. And the thing that I want to say is that this stuff is not just ADHD. Like, I'm sure creatives feel very, like, you know, feel very similar things, like, you know, creative block, you know, working with deadlines, working everything by yourself, like those are issues that people, like neurotypical people, deal with, which is just fine. And like, you know, it just kind of shows how we have similar issues. But the thing is, when you have ADHD or autism or OCD or anything else, it just amplifies all of it and makes it feel even more impossible. And it just goes beyond like laziness, you know, it goes beyond like to like physical pain of not being able to do something, or like loss of focus so vast that you can't even rein it back in. And I just hope that people just kind of, you know, understand like how interesting it is to have ADHD, and how it changes everything. Like, it's obviously sucks sometimes, but I don't think it's, you know, sometimes I'm pretty thankful for it, because otherwise I wouldn't feel things so passionately. I wouldn't be so, you know, focused on some stuff, you know. I wouldn't experience all these huge mood shifts, and sometimes I'm a bit thankful for them, because I'm like, you know, I'm feeling something, I'm alive. That got really dark. Let's see how much I've got left. 2 minutes. I reckon I can do that. And I wanted to finish off to say how I'm dealing with it. This is especially for other people who have ADHD, other content creators with ADHD. Again, I kind of underlined it before. It's like, you know, trying to ride the waves, like understand the cycles that, you know, you get through. So there's like, you know, the really passionate ones. So that's when you start working. Like, don't waste all that passionate energy on just thinking about the thing, right? Just start doing it. Just start getting content out, even if it's bad. And just, you know, as soon as you start feeling that passion, that hyperfixation, just start making content. And when you start feeling shit, take a break. It sounds easy, but just take a break. But don't take a short break. Try to make it a day-long break, maybe, at most, rather than, you know, a week break. I've done that before. Just, you know, remember that you'll always be able to come back to the content. You just sometimes need fresh eyes to look at it again. And sometimes you put too much pressure on yourself, and you just gotta take a little break. Just understand the cycles, understand like when you start feeling frustrated, what makes you feel frustrated. Try to work out the issues that you know you'll have to deal with, like, okay, is my camera being annoying? Okay, I'm gonna work that out before I start filming so I don't have to deal with it while filming. Just try to make it as safe for yourself as possible. And because you know yourself the best, right? So if you know your ADHD acts up in a certain way, you know, get rid of the distractions, you know, that will distract you. You know, find a way to keep notes, or find a way to script your videos. And don't tie yourself down to a very rigid schedule if that doesn't work for you. Just, you know, find something in the middle. And it takes practice, obviously. It takes practice. And also decide what you want to accomplish. Again, for me, it's not really views right now, because if I wanted to do that, I'd be doing out like consistent content. I mean, it would be great to have that along the way, but right now I'm just focusing on doing fun stuff and putting it out, you know, just putting shit out. And I think it's hard, you know, having ADHD, but I think content creators with ADHD are some of the best, because we just get really passionate. I mean, and, you know, we go on really funny tangents, and, you know, it's a lot of fun. And I think our low points can be pretty bad, but a bit relatable, and I think everyone who has ADHD understands, you know, where it can take you. But, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself after these 3 years, you know, figuring out what works for me. and I'm happy you guys have been along the way. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of weird video. Hope it taught you something about me, about people with ADHD. Camera reset halfway through. All I wanted to say is thank you for joining me on this really weird video. This might have ended a bit abruptly. I apologize. I just wanted to say that ADHD creators are the best, and we're all here for each other, and I hope this taught you a little bit about me, and just a little bit about people with ADHD in general. And happy anniversary to my channel. 3 years. That's crazy. Anyways, it's your Big Thigh Gemini signing out.